Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, Gungans, droids, Kiadi Mundi, coneheads, and confused unaligned force users. Welcome to today's video, where you and I are going to be doing our initial gameplay impression of Starkiller, aka Galen Merrick. And right out the get-go, yes, the leak seems to be true. He does seem a little underwhelming. However, we're not going to get a full picture right now. We're going to show what I've been using him for inside a galaxy of heroes right now. And so far, the thing I like about him, he's creating a brand new team, Unaligned Forces, that's actually usable to a degree. And I can only imagine in a Grand Arena setting that he can most likely take down some Galactic Legends. But we got to talk about something before we get into the gameplay here. I'm not seeing a lot of people talk about it. You guys know I'm blunt. I'm not going to sugarcoat things. This event was by far the laziest event of all time in Galaxy of Heroes. Quite disappointing. Not more exciting than a marquee event, unfortunately. CG, I understand that you guys don't like me because I'm not going to get on board with your current agenda of how you treat the game, but I've seen a lot more talent and effort put into the event. Many years past, this makes the Rey and Kylo event look like a masterpiece. A little unfortunate, but you know what? We're here to talk about the character, not the event. So let's get on over here and start chatting about him. As I said right off the get-go, no, not a single person out there, unless you're a beta tester, is going to have a complete information in regards to this character. And it's mostly because we need to see him in Grand Arena. Outside of Grand Arena, yeah, he does feel a little bit lackluster. Not a fan of him, but when we do get the big ultimate ability out, it's actually quite a lot of fun. And I actually saw Starkiller during the stream. He had a little bit of fun popping that ultimate here and there. But the first thing we got to talk about that I saw tons of people ask, how is he with Lord Vader? Okay, he's got the dark side unaligned force user tag. That's pretty much it. The biggest problem with the Starkiller in regards to Lord Vader. Now, this is why I've been personally holding off my all Galactic Legends in-depth ranking for this year. I have a lot of comfort going into the ranking for the Galactic Legends going to 2022 now, but I wanted to wait for Starkiller because there may have been a chance he could have been great with Lord Vader. The problem is with this fella, bring it, I keep pull up on the screen. The problem is size means nothing. The big ultimate ability, the thing where he pulls the Star Destroyer out of the sky, which is definitely, unlike the Galactic Legend that felt lazy, that at least feels like one of the better animations inside of the game. You can't use size means nothing if you have a Galactic Legend ally. Now, he can use it up against Galactic Legends, but if you're bringing in Lord Vader, you can't use it. So that kind of defeats the purpose of using him with Lord Vader. And then outside of that, it's like, okay, he's just okay. I'm sure you can, if you needed to, you could use him. That's the point I'm saying, especially with the Omicron, where you can dispel all his buffs on the all enemies. Doesn't matter if there's Lord Vader on the team there. He's able, when he gets to the Unleashed status, he can dispel all debuffs, get the buff immunity, get the healing immunity. So I'm not saying you can't use him with him, but so far outside of Grand Arena, and the fact you can't use size means nothing. He doesn't seem to be a meaningful component to the Lord Vader lineup. But beyond that, let's talk about really what I think is the most important thing about him. The unaligned force user. Right now, the unaligned force user tag has been at best meant to just trigger a very minor clause. For example, inside of the Lord Vader lead, dark side unaligned force user, if it's on your team, you can reduce the damage of light side unaligned force user. So at best, it's been kind of a niche, very small thing, and sometimes not useful whatsoever. Starkiller is the first character to create a whole entire unaligned force user team and ignore that confused debuff on top of him. That is simply a bug. There was no confused in him, but we all said he's probably confused because of all these compositions we're making. It's the weirdest compositions of all time, and that's another reason why I don't want to jump to a final conclusion. Not just because we don't have the Grand Arena Omicron, it's because this is a brand new team. It's just a bunch of mishmash characters thrown in together. But the cool thing is, you can make some stuff work out of it, as we're going to talk later. But let's actually summarize what this team is all about. The unaligned force user attack, you got to look at there as much conflict in you. There's a lot of people jumping in midstream. They're like, well, what the heck are you doing here? It makes sense, trust me. If you have exactly, it's kind of like a Moff Gideon lead type of thing. Exactly one Jedi, and then you have one light side unaligned force user, one Sith, and one dark side unaligned force user. You're getting 100% critical damage and max health. Barisofi, I'm not sure if that's going to be the go-to team several months down the road, but right now, Barisofi is my favorite lead to rock them. But beyond that, you're getting 100% max protection until the first time Starkiller is defeated, and you're getting 35 speed, and I think one of my favorite things on top of it is you can't get dazed and you can't get stunned. So Jedi Luke Skywalker can't stun you. Fantastic stuff here. With Barriss lead, she's already increasing max health. Most people have her Zeta ability because it's one of the better plug-and-play Zetas inside the game. You're recovering health every time you're getting critically hit, but when you have 100% max health and things like Barriss loaded up with tons of health already, Starkiller should be modded for health, as we're going to talk about later on in this video here. It just feels like they could just pretty much stand the test of time. And my favorite thing that I felt like was the most practical was using Barriss of Starkiller to take on things like Commander Luke Skywalker, because we were able to take on the heat. And basically you gotta just wait until you can use size means nothing. That's the game finishing kill right there for the most part. So if you're watching this gameplay not understanding what's going on, because these are the weirdest teams in the Galaxy Heroes history, just understand, if you're doing an unaligned force team, you need to make sure you satisfy specific conditions. I want to take this a step further because this was just in an arena setting. We're in a new dawn, a new day, and a new life in Galaxy Heroes. Whether you like it or not, you get on the train or you get out. That's what CG's saying right now. And if we're going to adapt to the times, we need to understand we're entering a new era in Galaxy Heroes where characters, they might not be great everywhere in the game anymore. There's pros and cons to that. Starkiller, we're predicting, is going to be a monster in Grand Arena. And that's what I'm saying. Even though the gameplay, my initial impressions were a bit blah, in Grand Arena, if those conditions were met, you're going to get crazy extra bonuses on top of what I just read here. Jedi tank allies are going to get a taunt for 1 turn. So that could be Old Ben, General Kenobi, for example, Kanan Jarrus, Juhani, for that matter. And then you're also going to get an extra 35 speed. So 70 speed in total slapped onto this team, and debuffed enemies are going to do 50% less damage. And whenever a Sith ally uses the basic ability, Starkiller is going to assist, and that is huge, dealing 20% less damage. We'll talk about that a little bit more in a moment. And whenever another dark side online force user uses the special ability, all allies gain critical hit immunity for 1 turn. And of course, light side healer allies have their cooldowns reduced by 4, and Jedi tank allies gain damage immunity and taunt for 1 turn. That's where the team really starts to shine inside of a Grand Arena setting. Now, I'm not going to say it's an undefeatable team. There's never been an undefeatable team in Galaxy of Heroes, but nonetheless, those are a lot of bonuses that you're missing out by not being in Grand Arena. And that's why I think we're missing out on something big, and why I'm calling it now. He's going to be able to beat some Galactic Legends. We got pretty close to beating Sith Eternal, Raiden. I can see him countering Jedi Master Luke, so I'd say hold on to your butts. We weren't able to beat the GL now. We got close to beating Sith Eternal. I think with this, there is much conflict of you. You got the Omicron. I could see him being a GL buster inside of Grand Arena, and hopefully an offense as well as a defensive side of things. But I want to talk about really the most impressive thing outside of size means nothing here. And that's his basic ability, Imbued Lightsaber Strike. Now, we just showed if you have the Omicron, anytime a Sith is using ability, Starkiller is going to assist. By far, my favorite thing with Starkiller is the fact his basic does some pretty serious damage. It's kind of like a splash effect basic attack, which we don't have a lot of those in Galaxy. It uses basic and it hurts everyone on that team. And we've at times got him to do 80, 90,000 on a basic attack. And that's pretty nice. And when you're getting him to assist, he's increasing his stacks of force energy. And once you get to 100 stacks of force energy, that's when you get the size means nothing. The whole strategy with Starkiller is he needs to survive long enough and needs to get up to force energy stacks of 100 to become unleashed with the force. And that's the big kicker you need to know about this guy. So every time he's being called to assist, he's stacking up his force energy. Every time he's using an attack, he's going ahead, stack up the force energy. So if you can get him to attack on a turn as often as possible, that's only going to help him speeding up the process within regards to getting out the force energy and the force unleashed as quickly as possible. So outside of that, I think some other good characters to plug in with him are other characters that can get him to assist, not just through the Omicron unique ability on there is much conflict in you. Things like General Kenobi, he can call a mass swarm assist. He can give retribution to Starkiller, so he's always counterattacking, therefore building up force energy. Shaak Ti counts as a Jedi. Go ahead, she has the assist capability. Hermit Yoda is also a Jedi. He can go ahead and give Master's training over to Starkiller, call him in for the assist. So if you're getting him to assist as much as possible, basically you got to get him to get as many attacks out of turns as possible, because otherwise he's just sitting there and he's like, oh, it's my turn. All right, let's drop a basic ability here. So you can't just let him stay stagnant while he's waiting for a turn. You got to find ways to get him to attack out a turn so he can stack up force energy, because the faster you can get that force energy to stack up to unleash, you're going to be golden. Absolutely golden in regards to this guy. But overall, Even though I love size means nothing, it's a cool ability, it does do well. Do note that size means nothing is reflected off of his max health. So the more max health he has, the more deadly that ability is going to be. And be careful, if you can reduce his max health, for example, General Anakin Skywalker, go back to the intro montage, you can see when there's gas, he reduces max health and literally he cut the damage of size means nothing by half. And that's going to transition into our conversation regarding mods. If you are going to use them right now outside of Grand Arena and with no Omicron, right now I'm feeling you got to get him to be as fast as possible. He needs to get as many turns out there as possible. Unless you're finding ways to get him to attack out of turn, you got ways to feed turn meter over to this guy. But so far, I like speed on him. Speed says, oh wow, it's so unique. No, you need to get him turns or else he's not going to get a lot of fun. Keep in mind, he's getting 35 extra speed without Omicron, 70 speed with Omicron, so he can technically get the GL speeds almost. So he can get easily into the 400s if you got that Omicron. And I really feel like you want to get as much health on this guy as well, because if you're going to pull off that size means nothing, you need to go ahead and pull off the big mods for health in him. I can legitimately see all health sets being another viable option, especially if you're getting 70 speed. You might not need to rely as much on a speed set at that point. But for my purposes, I think I'm going to use them, for example, for my anti-CLS team. It's, you know, it's pulling things like Barris, which I don't use as much. Dooku, I don't use them as much anymore. Visas Mar, I think she might have a bigger future of being able to constantly heal and also revive. It's gonna be pretty nice. We can't give full Omicron opinions on this guy yet because we can't test them out yet. But really, the most important thing that I'm seeing is I think you're really going to want to get that There Is Much Confidence. That is the #1 Omicron. If I was going to do it right now, it's going to be that. We're going to do some testing, see how he is on defense. And the other thing I think I'm going to like a lot is to spell all buffs on all enemies. That was the other problem I had. He didn't really have a good AoE buff this spell. The team, the Underlying Forces team, doesn't really have a good AoE buff this spell. So I think those two are going to be the most important. Boundless Force Throw, I don't see myself applying that anytime soon. Although the cleanse is nice, I didn't really find myself having an issue of debuffs when I was playing. It's more buff this spell, as well as getting more damage out there and getting more turns. So initial impressions right now, I think he could be Knight Plus Master at best with the current state of the game where he's in. I think in Grand Arena, he's going to be a different monster and a different beast. So don't let the gameplay fool you now. Even myself, and you guys know I'm very critical. I want to make sure you guys are getting the intel you need before you go ahead and buy a character, invest in the free-to-play resources into it. But for right now, Starkiller is interesting. If you get that ultimate, you're gonna smile. I mean, if you don't smile using the ultimate, you got less of a soul than maybe I do right now. So leave a like, comment down below, make sure you subscribe so you're not missing a thing. And one more call to CG, you guys can do better. Come on. I've been playing this game since 2015, and I've had some amazing experience with your legendary events. This was just pure laziness. I'm not gonna sugarcoat it and put it any other way. Until then, everyone, you guys know the drill. Say it with me. It's great to be in the Empire today.